The War Council chamber stretched vast and circular, its obsidian walls carved with the victory tallies of 1,000 conquered worlds. At its center, beneath the crimson glow of Krathis Prime's dying sun, sat the Apex Conclave, representatives of the 17 most feared predator species in the known galaxy. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stepped through the reinforced doors, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop. She was small by galactic standards. No claws extended from her fingertips. No scales armored her fragile skin. No venom dripped from her teeth. She wore a simple gray suit, carried no visible weapons, and walked with the measured pace of someone who had all the time in the universe. General Thraxzul of the Vrexian Empire was the first to notice her. His 4 eyes, each capable of tracking separate prey simultaneously, fixed on the human. His massive form, 3 meters of corded muscle and razor-sharp bone ridges, tensed. Then slowly, almost involuntarily, his gaze lowered to the table before him. Around the circle, the reaction rippled like a predator's instinct recognizing something it couldn't quite name. The Cathari High Huntress, whose people had perfected the art of stalking prey across dimensional folds, found her third eye closing defensively. The Genvar Pack Alpha, whose ancestors had evolved to hunt in the crushing gravity of a super-Earth, felt his ears flatten against his skull. One by one, the apex predators of the galaxy looked away. Ambassador Vasquez took her seat. The chair, designed for species far larger than her, made her appear even smaller. She placed a single data tablet on the table and folded her hands over it. "Thank you for allowing me to address this council," she said, her voice carrying clearly despite its softness. Warlord Kexthor of the Saurian Dominion leaned forward, his rows of crystalline teeth glinting. He had personally led the charge that had exterminated the Pelthian civilization. He feared nothing, and yet, when he tried to meet the human's eyes, he found himself staring at a point just above her shoulder. "We granted you this audience as a courtesy," Kexthor growled. "Your species is young, untested. You have no victories to your name, no conquered territories. You come here with nothing but words, asking us to abandon a war we are winning." He forced himself to look at her directly. "Give us one reason why we should listen to a prey species." Elena smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Prey species," she repeated, tasting the words. "Is that what you think we are?" She tapped her tablet, and a holographic display erupted above the table. Images flickered through the air, ancient Earth, red in tooth and claw. "Let me tell you about Earth, gentlemen. Our homeworld was a crucible. For millions of years, our ancestors weren't apex predators. We were hunted, stalked, eaten. Do you know what that does to a species? It doesn't make you weak. It makes you something far more dangerous. It makes you creative." She swiped through images, humans with spears, humans with fire, humans building walls against the night. "We didn't have claws, so we sharpened stones. We didn't have venom, so we learned which plants would paralyze our enemies. We didn't have armor, so we took the skins of animals that did. We were so terrifyingly vulnerable that we had to become something unprecedented. We became the species that turns everything around us into a weapon." General Thraxzul's combat stimulators were firing warning signals through his neural network. Every instinct screamed at him that he was in the presence of a threat, but his rational mind couldn't identify what kind. "But that's not what concerns you," Elena continued, her voice dropping lower. "What concerns you is that we didn't stop there. We became so efficient at survival that we nearly destroyed ourselves. So we learned something else, something no other species in this room has ever needed to learn." She stood, and though she was the smallest being present, the predators leaned back. "We learned restraint." The hologram shifted, showing Earth's wars. Millions dead, cities burning, mushroom clouds rising. "We mastered atomic fire while you were still inventing spaceflight," Elena said. "We could have rendered our world uninhabitable 100 times over. Instead, we chose not to. Do you understand how much discipline that requires? To hold the power of extinction in your hands and choose to put it down?" She walked around the table, and where she passed, eyes averted. "You wage war because you are apex predators. You evolved to dominate, to conquer, to prove your strength. You can't help it, it's written in your genes." She stopped behind her chair. "But humans? We wage war because we choose to. And that means we can also choose not to." Warlord Kexthor's claws scraped against the table. "Are you threatening us, human?" "No," Elena said quietly. "I'm warning you." She activated another sequence on her tablet. Star maps appeared showing human territory, a modest cluster of systems on the galactic rim. We've been watching your war for 3 cycles. We've watched you burn civilizations that refuse to submit. We've calculated the trajectory of your expansion. A red line extended from the war front, reaching toward human space. In 15 cycles, your war will reach our borders. The room had gone absolutely silent. We've sent 7 diplomatic missions to stop this war. 7 requests for peace. 7 ambassadors who spoke about cooperation, mutual benefit, and the sanctity of life. Elena's expression hardened. I'm the 8th. I'm not here to ask. The hologram changed one final time, showing something that made even the Apex Conclave's warriors shift uncomfortably. Human warships, thousands of them. But more disturbing were the designs. Ships that borrowed features from every predator species in the galaxy, refined and improved. You see, we learned from you too. Every tactic, every weapon, every strategy you've demonstrated in this war. We studied it all. And then we made it better, because that's what humans do. We adapt. She leaned forward, and this time when she looked at them, none could look away. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to end this war. You're going to establish a neutral zone. You're going to negotiate in good faith, not because we're asking nicely, but because the alternative is facing a species that spent its entire evolutionary history learning how to kill things that were bigger, stronger, and more dangerous than they were. Ambassador Vasquez straightened and walked toward the door. You're apex predators, she said as the doors opened. But we're persistence hunters, and there's nothing in the universe more terrifying than a human who has decided to end a threat. She paused at the threshold and looked back one last time. The choice is yours. Peace, or you'll discover why we don't have any natural predators left on Earth. The doors closed behind her. In the War Council chamber, 17 of the galaxy's most dangerous predators sat in silence. Deep in their genetic memory, in the instincts carved by millions of years of evolution, they recognized what their conscious minds struggled to accept. They had just been warned off by something higher on the food chain. 3 days later, the war ended.